have to say, even that, then say Geno's Picks is filmed before a drunk studio
Geno's Picks was filmed in front of people that think he's right.
Even better.
Play action fakes it for pass end zone. Yes, touchdown.
Hi, and welcome to Geno's Picks, and let me assure you that you made the right choice coming back because Daddy made nothing but the right choices last week. Yep, Daddy picked 4 games last week, and he fucking come out there. Daddy fucking nailed all of them. Throwing 6's Thursday night Colts pick, and the East Harlem apartment was a perfect week 9. And not only was Daddy 4-0 last week, but if you toss in the previous 2 3-1 weeks, Daddy is en fuego. That means is hot. It's spick at 10-2. And 83% against the spread over the past 3 weeks to improve to 20-16 on the season for 56%, which, as any degenerate will tell you, is making you fucking money. But you know who the real winners are? You people. And I can say you people because Dave Temple's in the other room. You people. He's a colored comedian. Very funny. Anyone that is watching these videos is a real winner, that's for sure, because these videos have been fucking hilarious. And I'm not saying I'm killing with these videos, but last week's video was introduced into evidence in the Henry Ruggs trial, as opposed to NFL players who haven't killed anyone. Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't. People still seem to be complaining after he was fined $14,000 last week for getting the flu, while C.D. Lamb was fined $20,000 for an untucked jersey. I think they both should have been fined $20,000, since there's pretty much the same chance of killing anyone for doing either. Of course, you'd have to be a fool not to realize, and I said this during Geno's Picks Thursday, that the NFL is doing this so people will spend the week digging into the COVID narratives while the family of the woman that fucking Ruggs hit is digging a grave. But at least they didn't have to go through the grueling process of taking her to the cemetery today, because at 156 miles an hour, Ruggs knocked her into next week. All right, let's get to the 4 shitty jokes in the picks, people. My first pick, the Browns are getting 2 and hook from the Pats in New England. Allow me to take a break from being right about everything about this pandemic the past 18 months to point out something I was right about 19 months ago. The cancer that is Odell Beckham Jr., people. Prior to the 2019 season, I said the Browns would fucking be worse with him as a player. And only fucking he would do would serve, this is like something I did it would only serve as a distraction to Baker Mayfield. In fact, I told you to wait till the first time OBJ was overthrown by Baker Mayfield, and then listen to him bitch, which he did for weeks on end after week 1. Then when OBJ got injured, it was Daddy who told you that it was the best thing for Baker Mayfield, who could now do what he did at Oklahoma and just fucking choose the wide receiver that was open rather than check down the field to make sure that he could see the huge ego that was OBJ while he was sitting there in a small window for him to throw to. Well, 2 seasons later, the team finally realized what an absolute distraction and child OBJ will always be. Looks like Cleveland finally realized you can take OBJ out of the Browns, but you're never going to take the Brown out of OBJ. Take the Browns and the 2.5 they're getting. My next pick, the Cardinals are giving 10 hook to the Panthers in Arizona. If you're waiting for me to take credit for having the Cardinals last week, I won't. Because the pick I made was Kyler Murray and the Cardinals covering the 2.5 points they were laying against the Niners. What I will take credit for is exactly what happened. The fact that Jimmy Garoppolo being back was great news for gamblers, because it seems like we finally found the one place this gorgeous son of a bitch looks bad, in the Monday morning box score. Not sure why the line swung more than a TD in favor of Jimmy G Wiz to the Cards getting 6.5, only because it made absolutely no difference when Kyler Murray was ruled out. As Galapagos Islands, Garoppolo was completely outdueled by career backup Colt McCoy, as McCoy completed all but 4 of his passes in the 31-17 blowout, while Jimmy G went a woeful 28-40 and was sacked 5 times in a complete disappointment, as he became the second person in as many days to shit himself in front of a bunch of Cardinals. You're calling Joe Biden stupid. Shut up and fucking swallow the cum, Pressman. Well, Speaking of QBs that shit the bed, they now get Sam Darnold. No, they don't. He's out. Who had an even worse week 9 than Garoppolo, because while Jimmy G did have a pair of garbage TD passes, the only TD pass Darnold completed last week was a pick six by the Pats, although he did complete a second pass in the end zone to a fucking Patriot. In his defense, he is said to have broken his shoulder blade in that game, but let's be honest, given the way this Robbie Anderson was screaming at him on the sideline after his third interception, if you told me there was a blade involved in his injury, I would have thought it was something completely different. These people will stab you. At any rate, PJ Walker, the ex-XFLer, steps in, and Cam Newton comes back from the dead to back him up in this one, unless fucking Cam's on the practice squad, which Lord knows he could fucking use. All right, take the fucking, who do we have in this? Take the cards and lay all those points. My next pick, the Packers are laying 3.5 to the Seahawks in Green Bay. For the first time in the history of Vegas, they won't be covered in green after this game. They'll be covered in blue. Blue money, that is. Because the fact that arguably the best QB in the NFL is facing off against a Russell Wilson that was rushed back to action to try and save the season, and he only needs to fucking win by 4 at home, tells me Vegas thinks everyone who believes COVID is still a thing believes Rodgers is going to be the least bit distracted by what happened in the past week. He won't. In fact, there will be as much of a chance of that as there was any NFL athlete coming into contact with him on the field and dying. Zero. What about the refs? I thought they were vaccinated. And as for Russell Wilson, he's dead to me. Anyone who watched him and his wife Ciara host that hour-long COVID-19 vaccination special, roll up your sleeves, knows why. That's the day he died. I mean, it certainly made it more believable to have his wife standing next to him, considering she's an expert on getting poked repeatedly. Who poked her? Dr. Dre? Well, just like his whore wife, Wilson is damaged goods, as there is no way his middle finger is back, which is why his throws will be about as accurate as the narrative that the left is spreading about COVID, while Ron throws a healthy middle finger up at anyone dumb enough to believe an elite athlete will be affected in the least bit by the China flu. Take the pack and lay the 3 in a hook. I shouldn't do this show because I've got a special on my network coming up about trans, which brings me to my Double Your Money Monday night pick. The Rams are laying 4 to the Niners in San Fran. It seems like so much longer than 2 years ago when Kyle Shanahan put up that staggering 13-3 record for the Niners and went to the Super Bowl. But here are a few numbers, people, that are even more staggering. Outside of that season, he is an abysmal 19-37 as head coach, and even with that Super Bowl season, he's still 32-40 overall. Not to mention, before those 72 games, he was the offensive coordinator on what will go down as the worst offensive choke in Super Bowl history. And you wonder why this Niners team is struggling regardless of who's under center? Because just like the controversial QB that preceded Shanahan, the league has figured this guy out, which is why it's so ironic he's the head coach in San Fran, because unlike 90% of the freaks running around in that circus of a city, you need to take just one look at the Niners offense and you can figure out exactly what the fuck they are. Either way, in both cases, you're staring at one confused mess, asking yourself, how the fuck do these people ever score? The Rams bounce back big. Take LA in the 4 they're laying. Those are Geno's picks. Let's go hit Sully's, people.